So my name is Gerry. I'm a pastor at a church downtown Toronto. Today I'm getting digits 491, which I've been sitting on for a while. It's not any birth date, obviously. It's 3 numbers. So there's a passage in the Bible where this guy named Peter goes to Jesus and he's like, Jesus, how many times should I forgive someone? Is 7 times sufficient? And in the Jewish culture, it was 3 times was the max. Like you would forgive someone for an offense or for any wrong committed against you. And so Peter thought like, 7 times, this is good, this is generous. And Jesus said 70 times 7, which is 490. So originally I was going to get the tattoo 490, but as I sat on it and kind of dug a little bit more, I realized Jesus saying 70 times 7 was more so him saying a limitless number of times we should be forgiving someone. So just because you hit the 490th time, it doesn't mean you stop forgiving someone. So 491 to me represents the limitless number of times we should be forgiving someone, which I think is important, especially in the culture we live in today. When you have that offense or that bitterness, it just eats you, it eats you up. My belief is that God has forgiven me a limitless amount of times. And then my next tattoo is simple words, fear not. Just words that I've always kind of meditated on. And there's just, again, another passage of the Bible that says, fear not, be strong and courageous, for I am with you. And I think about that idea of fear. We get into situations and scenarios where we always experience fear. And it's so hard to oppose that. But when the Bible says be strong and courageous, it means be strong and courageous in God. Like you have Him by your side.
And I'm chill like that.
Alrighty. You ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that.
I kind of grew up in the church, and I did my own thing in my early 20s. And I think credit to my parents, my grandma, who prayed for me a lot. There was just something that kept pulling me back even when I tried to run away from what I thought was a set of rules. And so I thought it was too hard to live that life. And something always drew me back to God, and that was through the church. I mean, I grew up in a church predominantly with a lot of white people, and so I was already the guy who was kind of isolated, who was ignored. But then, there was that one person who just invested in me and taught me and modeled, I think, who Jesus is. And it brought me back to church after my university days.
My mom, my family, in general, they go to church, not as often as me now.
Like Catholic church, or would they go to?
Yeah, Catholic church, yeah. But yeah, the churches they're very different than here.
Yeah.
It's super traditional,
Right.
It's very I never came across a church like Sicily in Europe.
I'm in like that because I swing like that.
And what was hard though, which might be similar for Desiree, was finding a church where I felt like, man, I could relate, connect, see myself even in the people in the community at the church. And it took a while to find that, and I came across C3 Toronto. It's every different ethnic group, every different culture that reflects Toronto. And as I got more involved and got more connected, I was in recruitment in HR for about 7 years. There was an opportunity to transition, and I became a volunteer pastor, and then eventually a full-time kind of pastor. Mainstream church culture in the States, you would see a lot of profile tattooed pastors. These are people who would probably know celebrities or something like that, I think because of the connotation or the stigma of who gets tattoos, when they started, there's an opposing view when it comes to our kind of religious beliefs. But that's culturally relevant to that time. We do live in a different time, and it's it doesn't harm anyone, tattoos. You know what I mean? There's no real negative view on them. It's more like art. It's more like what it means to the person who gets it.
She frequents deep, fatter joints called undergrounds. Our funk zooms like you hit the.
Since I came to church, my life started, since I've been back with God and praying, I swear my life is like really like turning around.
Hip hop kept some drama. When butterfly rocked the like blue suede pumas. What by the cut? We push it off the corner. How was the buzz in?
I think it's quite unique to be able to be tattooed by someone who goes to our church, who goes to my church, but also to get to know her story, because we've only had a couple interactions. So to be able to get to know her family, how many siblings she has, how many countries she's traveled, even her journey of coming into church and her faith journey, I think that's pretty unique, which all my other tattoos, I don't know, it feels like, to be honest, it's a bit more small talk. Those tattoo artists were great, but it was nice to actually connect in a different level while you're getting the tattoo. So that's a massive, I think, bonus as well.
And I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that. I'm chill like that.